Into every generation, podcasters are born. Two guys in all the world, chosen ones. They alone will wield the strength and skill to discuss the vampires, demons, and the forces of darkness, to lament the spread of their evil and the swell of their number. This is the Untitled Buffy Project.
In Primeval, the second half of a two-part episode, Buffy and the Scoobies figure out exactly what Adam is up to, building an army. Unfortunately, the Initiative won't listen to them and their magic gourd. This episode was written by David Fury and directed by James Conner.
So, Sean, the Scooby Gang in this episode, dare I say they need to assemble?
Ah, I see what you're doing there. Joss Whedon is foreshadowing himself.
Yeah, many, many years down the road. This episode came out in May of 2000.
But yeah, there are a lot of similarities across. It's partially just because it's an ensemble thing, but I know how much Joss really did like the Avengers. It's not just a coincidence of he eventually got that job.
And the end of season 4 of Buffy might have been a really good line on his resume to get that job.
Yeah,
because he and his team, took this group and split them apart and brought them back together
and made them even stronger.
Yeah,
he made a bionic man out of them.
Yeah, I know, very strong at the end of this. So this is the last episode of the season, I would say, and then we'll have a final episode, and so will Joss.
I think Joss would agree.
Right.
This is the only season that does this.
Yeah. This ends the arc, pays everything off. Adam dies at the end. Riley doesn't die at the end, and I was like, oh yeah, Riley's going to die at the end of this. He doesn't die.
Sorry, I guess.
Yeah, I know. Well, and I've been...
I was kind of surprised no one commented on that episode that you were wrong.
I having continued this subsequently, I've seen the 5th season. Yeah, he's totally alive. And now I'm noticing that the writers are probably wishing that they had done that because it seems like that he's totally going to break up with Buffy.
Yeah, they're like, oh, shoot, now we don't know what to do with him.
Yeah, they should have killed him. I don't know why they didn't kill him.
For story reasons, everyone, not just because we think he needed to die.
Oh, no, I like Riley. It's just, makes no sense.
For the same reason that we think that maybe Han Solo should have died at the end of Return of the Jedi. That sacrifice really means something.
Yes.
And it can do something to all the characters.
Yes, in this episode, the only sacrifice that Riley makes is, he cuts himself and digs around in his upper torso. Yeah. Which was gross. So, I was totally right about that. That Chip got, a switch got flipped in Riley's head. He shows up at Adam's lair, and he doesn't quite know why. He's like,
I'm here. Why am I here?
So apparently, learning of his closest friend's death was the trigger that Maggie built into his chip.
I thought Adam activated it.
Oh, he just turned it on.
Yeah, I think Adam is known for a time that he could do that. He's told Riley how he's his brother and everything. I think he's just been waiting for the opportune moment, and this is it.
Oh, okay. I guess that makes sense. That makes more sense than what I like. Well, see, my whole thing about this chip is that I thought it was stupid that it was a chip, and it actually for the story works out really well. I assumed until Adam literally said that there's a chip in his upper torso, in his chest, that it was behavior modification or something, in his brain.
But apparently it's no, we can control your body
with a USB drive or something.
Right. With a Nintendo 64 controller.
So he's there, and Adam totally has control over him. And to emphasize it, to put a point on it, Adam says, sit down, and he sits down. It's just
oh,
damn.
Shoot.
And all the people who thought I was crazy, or, should have thought I was crazy that Riley would die, I even had a note that I was beginning to complain about this episode, that it was too much like the end of season 2, because I just assumed that they would turn Riley into a cyber guy, and he would end up fighting with Buffy. And I'm like, that's just like Angel and in season 2, but they didn't do that. So
no, they let Riley really fight with himself.
Yeah. Maggie is still around.
How creepy is she?
Doesn't it look like she sort of like has wheels?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
She kind of, I don't know.
She's Rosie the robot now.
She does kind of like, she's kind of hunched over, and oh my goodness. So Adam has this creepy plan to turn humans into, well, Maggie had this plan actually, to turn humans into superhumans by taking demons and sort of grafting them together. Like, Adam is a prototype for what they eventually want to be a huge military program.
Yeah.
And Riley is going to be the next one of those soldiers, and he sees that Forrest has already been turned into one of these guys. And there's nothing he can do because he's got this chip in him. So he's got to get saved, man.
Right. He's got to wait for something to happen.
So throughout the episode, Adam teases Spike with taking the chip out of his brain. He's like, well, if the Slayer's friends are all apart, then I'll do it. And that's happened. He's like, well, once the Slayer's in the initiative, I'll do it. And he's like, well, once the Slayer is in...
At this point, I'm just assuming that Adam is going to rip Spike's head off. Like, that's his plan. Like, yes, I will remove the chip by removing your head from your torso.
Which is what...
Decapitation is also a problem.
Decapitation is also a problem. I assume that that's what he's going to do. We haven't quite gotten into the mythology of this, and I think in the last episode we might talk about that. But I have a feeling that Adam doesn't really like vampires either, because they've been doing stuff with demon parts, and we know that vampires were created in the mythology of Buffy when demons sort of crossed with humans. Mm-hmm. And Adam's trying to make a more pure version of that. He doesn't like vampires. He's like, you guys are weak and you get burned up in the sun and you're obsessed with death and, you have to feed on people like constantly. It's just like, that's no good. That was the wrong way to combine demons with people. The right way is the way that my mom did it with like technology and uranium cores and, whatever. So I have a feeling that, and we've never seen him really cooperating with vampires. We saw him like terrorizing vampires, basically, like turning them into cultists who eventually all get killed because they, for some reason, think it's a good idea to go out in the sun in a church. I mean, if you really think about it, it's like, was Adam really helping those guys?
He sent them on a kind of suicide mission.
Right. So, yeah, I think he has no real love for Spike. He knows that Spike can accomplish things for him that he wants to.
Yeah, he used him. He was in the right place. He used him.
Yes, 100%. So... Our friends are not quite friends yet. They have not yet assembled. There is still some sore, some sore feelings and some sore heads. Giles is a little hungover.
Poor guy. Do you have to tap so loudly?
Are you going to be here talking? They all have kind of had the night to get over a little bit of the argument, and they know that they need to get together and figure this stuff out. And their in is that Willow now knows that there is a secret room in the initiative, and that there is a whole new phase that they didn't know about it in the 314 project, and it's going to be making super soldiers. She's a little. I think Adam tells the program to unencrypt itself or something, or it was programmed to unencrypt itself, and Willow has this nice little moment of, it's like, well, I didn't even have time to run the code. It's just doing it by itself. That's so lame. It's like, someone tells you a riddle and they just blurt out the answer. Oh, I mean, yay, the code is unencrypted.
I should be celebrating this, but I'm really annoyed because I wanted to figure it out.
Oh, I love Willow. So they get together and they're like, yep, this is our plan. We're going to go break in.
Buffy went back to that cave and found Spike there, and he mentions that the Scooby Gang isn't getting along, and she's like, you dick. She figures it out. She puts it together. She realizes Spike is the one who has split them up, and that means he's working with Adam.
Yeah, she gathers the gang. She says, who specifically mentioned this and who specifically did this? And they all realize it was Spike. And Buffy thinks everything is going to be okay, I think, at that point. She doesn't realize that there was some truth to all of those things.
Right.
Even though that Spike initiated that, she didn't. She wasn't aware enough. She wasn't adamant enough to know that things have been a little frosty between you and Willow. And Xander is a little upset that he's on the outside, and you haven't been paying a lot of attention to him, and he feels not so great because there is some core to all of this. And where they really get past all of this is when they're rappelling down the elevator shaft.
the most inconvenient time to have a breakthrough when you're hundreds of feet down an elevator shaft on a cord.
This is my note right here. I can't believe that they're having this conversation on the way down to the big bad battle. This is the time that you've chosen to do this, but it is. And they all are like, yeah, we're a group again.
Xander yells up to Giles, "You got to get down here and see all of this. It's great."
Right. So we know that they have some sort of plan. It involves a spell, but we don't know what the spell is going to be exactly. I think that there was enough hints and indication that they were going to sort of by their powers combined do something like that. They didn't totally spell that out, but they're going to use an enjoinment spell or an enjoining spell, and they bust into the initiative, and immediately they get arrested by there's hundreds of initiative thugs right there at the elevator. It's do they not know that someone broke the thing, the door at the top of the shaft?
Right.
I mean, obviously, they probably just turned the alarm off so that they could wait and be like, who the hell is breaking in here?
Let's just wait till they get to the bottom.
We're gonna arrest these fools. So then it goes all cabin in the woods. And all the things break out. Adam lets all of the demons out.
Which Buffy already knew was going to happen. She put that together.
Right, they knew that the whole idea was to get Adam as many parts as he needed. Kill a bunch of people, kill a bunch of demons, and harvest them to start making his army. And the Colonel...
To, dare I say it, take over the world?
Gee, Brain, what are we going to do tonight? So it's so much foreshadows Cabin in the Woods that at one point we're looking over the big area from a platform, and there's a soldier hanging on, and there are it looks like vines grabbing him and pulls him down, which happens in Cabin in the Woods. I was so thrilled with this. It was
if there's nothing wrong with it, don't fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
They could not ignore the initiative season of Buffy when they were having conversations about Cabin in the Woods, I'm sure.
Yeah, oh no, of course. So I really liked this episode. I really liked the whole season and where they went with it. The one big thing that I had, especially here, was that this was such a good idea, but that the makeup and the special effects of the day just really held it all back.
Right. Yeah, we've talked about if this show were made a few years later, even just 5 years later, it would have been a very different experience.
They could have done exactly the same thing, but with better makeup and better, special effects.
So part of the problem was there's not CG in a lot of this. It is a lot of practical and makeup and stuff, and sometimes that's fine, but sometimes it's Oz is a man in a furry costume, and you're like, huh?
Just doesn't look great.
That's the effect they're going for? A man running around on all fours?
So, yeah, not great. Adam specifically, I think, is a really great idea, but that he just sort of looks kind of phony. All right, so here's the big finale, the big finish. Riley is strapped into to a chair. He's gonna get turned. Buffy and the Scoobies have broken into the initiative. She's gonna head down to try and kill Adam, and the Scoobies are getting together to cast a spell that involves a gourd for some reason.
Because you need every kind of thing. They think that the group brought in weapons with them, and they see the gourd and they're like, what? You guys are crazy, aren't you?
Yeah, the Colonel says, "What kind of freaks are you people?" Which is kind of true.
I think it's I think this is the point where I started wondering, like, there's this giant involvement of the government with this, like, underworld thing, but for some reason they don't research, like, what's behind the underworld thing. Like, this is all involved with magic, like, actual magic. And for some reason the government is like, yeah, there are hostile subterrestrials that we need to kill, but they don't, like, go the next step and are like, oh, there's, like, a whole nether world of stuff that is beyond our understanding and mystical. And even when they're confronted with it, they're still not seeing it. They're just like, you guys are freaks.
Buffy even says, like, you're on my territory. You should just let me do what I have to do. And the Colonel's like, no, you're crazy, little girl. And then that's when all the demons come out, and we'll just spoil it. The Colonel dies.
Oh, shoot. Too bad.
Too bad. So Buffy finds Riley. She's in the clutches of Forrest. I didn't understand this. Forrest is holding Riley, like, holding her down, and Adam says, kill her. And instead of, Forrest is super strong now, and instead of, like, trying to, like, snap her neck or stab her or something, they have Maggie sort of start rolling toward her with, like, a bone drill. And I'm like, what? That doesn't make sense. So she obviously evades that. She fights with Forrest, and Riley gains some amount of control over himself, enough that this was just disgusting, can pick up a piece of glass and rip open his chest so he can, like, reach in and pull out the chip.
He's determined, man.
He is. So he takes
He might accidentally kill himself by cutting a, like, vital artery, but he'll do it.
He'll do it, right? And it's just like, and not only did he cut himself, but then he, like, reached in. He fights with Forrest while Buffy goes to fight with Adam. I don't think that they really built up Riley and Forrest's friendship enough for that fight to be super emotional.
Yeah.
So, but, we have Buffy and Adam is, unstoppable. How is she going to defeat this evil creature? Well, they summon the
Captain Planet spell.
Yeah, they do. They do the head, heart, spirit, and hands spell. Apparently, there is a specific spell to allow 3 other people to join with a Slayer. Seems unusual, but okay, I'm bought in. Let's do it. And they all, like, sort of bring their powers together so that Buffy can say the Sumerian and use Willow's superpowers, and she can use her, super strength. And I don't know what Xander was bringing to the picture, but he was there too. And
he's got courage.
Courage. He has heart.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. He has heart. Yes.
Which I think is, that always has been Xander's power. Because he doesn't have supernatural power except when he accidentally lights books on fire, but he does have courage.
Right. He does have courage. He has heart. So they pull their powers together. Buffy gets to be all like Neo with the bolts.
Pretty much exactly like Neo.
I think they may have even ripped that off. I don't know if the Matrix had come. Yeah, the Matrix had.
Yes, it had.
By now, because they referenced it.
Yep.
When Adam starts to question, like, how powerful she is, she gets to say, the great line, you have no idea where. Oh, shoot.
That is a great line.
What is the line?
This is the first time I've really seen Adam completely confounded by something. Like, he's been all about knowing everything, and he's aware of everything, and this is the first time that he's been confronted with something that he just doesn't understand.
This is also the first and only time I've seen Adam look afraid.
Yeah, and he does. For good reason.
She's able to stop bullets in the air. She forces his like gun thing back into its sheath. She turns missiles into birds. And then she rips his uranium heart out
Right.
and collapses it into a mini universe or something. I don't know. It goes away. And the threat of Adam is gone forever.
Phew.
Whew. Thank goodness. Also, of course, it was uranium, so it had to be like green and glowing. It's like, do you think that Buffy is gonna have like hand cancer?
It's like The
when she-
Simpsons.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And the episode sort of concludes with the government people who are meeting in a black room, talking about the project. The Scoobies go and help save the rest of the initiative, and then we sort of learn about that from like the debriefing at the end. Spike has realized that the tide has turned, and he saves Giles and Xander and Willow from a demon. And Xander even says like, "You just killed that guy because you know that you don't want to get staked in the heart." And I think he even says yes, but Riley and Buffy come back and they're like, we gotta go save the soldiers and get the scientists out of here. And Spike says, well, let's go save them, by gum.
Spike is nothing if not a survivor.
Spike's a survivor.
Sometimes it makes him a kind of scum, but whenever he's on the good side of things, it's not so bad.
Yeah. They do save all the soldiers of the initiative. They are all alive, and the government shuts down the initiative. They say,
And erases it.
they erase all the records. They say they're going to
Fill it in with concrete.
fill it in with concrete.
We want to forget about this mistake.
And I guess there'll be just one less hole underneath Sunnytail.